You're like a rat. You're like a vermin. You're a parasite. You've got to be gotten rid of. And the government, it gives us sunshine. It gives us green grass. It is the oxygen.
Well, what's interesting is where Joe Penna's property went was 30 blocks down the street was H&R Block. The tax people who are a Fortune 500 company took 5 of Daryl Penna's businesses and 4 other businesses to build their world headquarters. Not only did they got the land to build this building, but the city gave them money for all the furnishings.
Stay there. Got a break. Stay there.
Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange home gain gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com, HomeGain.com. Check them out today.
I read the news today.
You know, we saw that this film was coming to town. Rob Dew did. And so we called the director of this new film, Begging for Billionaires, Philip Klein, and he came into town early to be on the show. In fact, it turned out he's a listener of the show, so we're flattered to have him here. And he was telling me all the other stuff he's investigating in Kansas City and other parts of the country. And it all dovetails with my own research. So this guy is bona fide from my perspective. And we're going to play the trailer for the film coming up, but it's winning a lot of film festivals. It's definitely going to get a lot of attention. And I can't wait till it comes out on DVD. We'll try to buy some in bulk and sell them on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com because you do personalize it. This is a short segment, but we kind of got started on a good foot, but kind of shotgun pattern. Break down exactly what's going on just in a microcosm of Kansas City and what this film shows and the fact that you got harassed, attacked, detained, arrested. I mean, this is hardcore. And everything you're talking about, I've experienced it personally, and then I've experienced it through nationwide research. So I want people to know it's worse than what you're even saying. Go ahead.
Well, the interesting part is we spent 4 years making this documentary. Missouri, by the Institute of Justice, is basically considered as one of the most abusive states in the United States for the abuse of eminent domain. And your property is being attacked. And not only being attacked, that you really don't own your property. Someone could come along, decide they want your property, and go to the government.
And you talk about how they use NGOs, like we have Lower Colorado River Authority here with its own SWAT teams. You're mentioning another group, but you don't want to get into them on air. Exact same system, the North American Union Hub in KC.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We're going through that too, but what's interesting is they use tactics, terrorist tactics, and making this documentary, as you mentioned, the first real shakeup on me was I went to a public hearing that was being held in a hotel. Mayor Kay Waldo Barnes, an assistant, basically said she didn't want me there, had the police remove me from the hotel, telling me that I could not come in the hotel. If I came back in the hotel, I would be arrested. My first cameraman, basically, his vehicle parked downtown while we were shooting the redevelopment and them tearing the buildings down and all this. Actually, they broke all his windows and kicked in the side of the vehicle. Another time, they almost ran him on off the road and killed him. So, and I was threatened by the mayor's woman. She had a woman bodyguard who was an off-duty police officer. This is typical Kansas City police. Basically, made a threat to me. Basically threatened me. And
what did she say?
She basically said, you still live at 8301 Briar Lane, my old house. And I go, yeah. Goes, I thought so. Basically, is an indirect threat.
Oh, how's the family doing?
Yeah, it's like kind of a mafia threat. Goes, yeah, we know where you live. Even it's in Kansas. I was living in Kansas at the time. For Kansas City, Missouri police, to come into Kansas and find out where I live is really nerve-wracking.
Oh, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is big business, snatching everybody's property. And again, with the new London Kilo decision nationwide, they're just taking whatever they want, when they want, in many cases not even paying you for it. So this isn't the government taking your land and paying you for a highway. This is, and that's what a lot of these NAFTA highways are about, snatching land on 10 miles of either side and giving it to their select cronies as well. But keep going.
Yeah, and they pay you like 10 cents on the dollar for your property. What happened with Penner was he had 2 buildings. They were going to only pay him $360,000 for the building. He actually had to go to court, and he won and won $1.5 million for both buildings. And
I've seen cases, to interrupt you, where somebody will be paying $2 million in taxes on a house or a building, and the government will say, "Oh, it's worth $100,000." You're like, "My tax bill says it's $2 million," and they go, "We have SWAT teams," and they send to these farms and ranches and homes police, and they just throw you off. But go ahead.
Yeah, and this is the tactics they do. A case that's not in our documentary, and one of the first eminent domain cases I worked on, besides the others, was in Merriam, Kansas, was Bill Gross. He had a used car dealership that he was leasing out to Van Chevrolet. And B&W next door was run by a bunch of millionaires, wanted his piece of property. He wanted $1.5 million for the property. They didn't want to pay it, so they went to Irene French, the mayor, the redevelopment director, and they took his property. For the next 3 years, going through court and everything, he had a massive heart attack, and now he's permanently in a wheelchair.
Yeah, no, it's very, very stressful, and the way they harass old people when they come out of the hospital, and we know they're using the health department databases, the nurses, the health department, for their safety, I have to report any at risk or hurt old people or families, and then the health department is feeding that out to their units. We've confirmed that in Austin. I mean, this is so sinister. Oh, these people are disgusting.
And it's also racist. What happened in Richmond Heights.
Well, we'll stay there. Tell us more of the stories when we get back. And then you were telling me about, and I'd actually heard about this separate from you, the Kansas City FBI building, an underground complex. We'll be right back. Can you talk about that when we get back? His new film, Begging for Billionaires, Limelight Cinema Group presents The Attack on Private Property Rights in America. Philip Klein, director, executive producer, and it's taken the prize at a lot of big film conferences and film fests. We're very, very excited. He's going to be this Sunday down in New Braunfels, Texas, at their big Texas Film Festival down there. It's the main selection film for that, the final film that they'll be showing. So we'll go over that. It's won awards in Australia as well. Okay, Mr. Klein. You know, there's so many points when you and I get in a room together because there's so many facets and areas and so much corruption to go over. I interrupted you earlier, then I want to play this clip coming up. Get into H&R Block, just what they did alone. Just like New London, Connecticut, it was a drug company, wanted all this land, 20 times the land they needed for a headquarters, and then really they were just going into real estate, so they just had the city just take their land. The Supreme Court said, yeah, you can just take it, and you can give political contributions to politicians as bribes. Bribes are now legal to do this. I mean, this is the mafia taking over America. So show folks that photo of the H&R Block headquarters.
The H&R Block headquarters. I don't know which.
Yeah, hold it up right there. That's good.
Okay. Headquarters. And they took out 5 businesses. And not only did they got the land and to build this big building, but they also got all the furnishings paid for by the city. The computers, the desk, everything paid for by the city.
So now they don't just get no taxes like a lot of cities and counties do. Now everything's paid for.
Yeah.
Maybe they can say citizens are slaves and we've got to cut their lawns with scissors, And
then funny, it was a couple years afterwards, the company got in financial trouble and they threw out the CEO of H&R Block. It was a hostile takeover, if you remember, on that. And
one of our writers and moderators had, I believe he said H&R Block was at Century 21, in his house to sell it. And then he gets a SWAT team raid. They said he had a meth lab. There was nothing even in the house. I don't know. It's just a side issue, but go ahead.
Yeah, and this is actually the former mayor, Kay Waldo Barnes, and she's in the documentary. And one of my favorite moments in the whole documentary is I asked her at the end of the documentary about the businesses downtown that she's taking out with eminent domain and throwing on the side of the street, she looks at me and goes, "I'm sorry, I don't answer non-media questions." Even I was invited in as a media person, she refused to answer my question, and that's how we end the documentary. I do want to also mention the website.
Yes.
Which is www.beggingforbillionaires.com. And you also see our trailer on there, a lot of information, articles, and G. Gordon Liddy we did in the beginning of May. And I think you'll get a lot more information from the website. This is going on all over the country. And I was saying earlier...
Are you kidding? They're using phony environmentalists where we've got property in East Texas to try to steal everybody's land. It's all phony. They're just thieves.
Yeah, but it's also racist. Richmond Heights, which is the original first black community in St. Louis. It was built for people who were working in the brick factory that was there.